Welcome back to trackside. Canberra is the location, the scene of the GMC 400 each year around the streets of our nation's capital. And time now for the third race of the weekend in the Megamantis.com Nations Cup. Jim Richards is on pole from this one, courtesy of his win in race 2. Craig Baird will start beside him on the front row. Tony Quinn and Dominic Beninka off row 2.
Mahir El Gadri, Steve Webb, Dean Canto in the BMW Z3 Roadster. Mark Williamson, the tiny little Lotus, also appearing in this race.
Now, Paul Stokel is registered as being off the back of the grid for this one, but he is a non-starter. The damage to that Lamborghini in race 2 is too much for the team to repair. He is out of this one, and that will cost him the championship lead. Set for a start. It's a rolling start in this category. Craig Baird has already been pinged once this weekend for jumping the start. Look at how cautious he's being this time around. Away we go. Jim Richards, and like I said, you elbow to elbow between those two guys.
Yeah, fighting over room there. Tony Quinn also tags the back of Baird's Ferrari. So it's Craig Baird up to second already. Dominic Beninka fourth. Then Darcy Russell, Jeff Morgan.
Everyone trying to settle down on this opening lap. Jim Richards.
Quinn has got problems.
Now that must be because of that contact with Craig Baird at that first corner, Cameron McConville.
Definitely, it was a big hit too, Rusty. Well, puff of smoke from the Jaguar there. Yeah, look, perhaps he was a little bit over exuberant. Tried to go up the inside. There certainly was room, but there wasn't after Craig shut the door. And I'd say you'd have a bent steering arm of some description, or possibly a flat tyre.
Now Peter Fitzgerald also coming from well back. Would you believe a throttle cable broke in race 2? That's what put him out.
Up in front, Jimmy Richards. This is the turning point in some respects last year for Porsche in the championship. Let's have a look.
There was about half a car there, but not quite a whole car. I mean, obviously everyone has to be very careful in that first corner. There was certainly a hole there. It wasn't after Craig decided to turn in. Perhaps they could have gone through the corner side by side, but that will definitely be dismissed as just a first corner racing incident.
Well, Tony Quinn's had a great start to his championship season in the VIP Pet Foods Porsche GT3, so a shame he won't finish race 3.
That high shot really does show you when they come into that opening turn. If you're at the back of the pack, you come to a dead standstill until everything settles down.
That's right, and you must brake well before the car in front. If you brake after the car in front, the speed is closing and slowing down so much, you just end up straight into the back of the car.
So Darcy Russell into the top 4 also now in the Chrysler Viper. Baird in the Ferrari going through in second. Now Beninka coming through in the TNT car. Then it's Russell in the Viper car 7. Jeff Morgan just behind him.
That's the striking new Viper of Darcy Russell. Probably one of his best performances so far in the Nations Cup Championship. 4th in this race ahead of Jeff Morgan. These cars are sporting new bodywork this weekend. Oh,
this one.
dramas.
The bodywork on that.
Yeah, dramas for Bob Thorne. Let's have a look here and see if we can get an idea just what's happened. Now, watch the top of your screen.
Looked like he may have just understeered or came in too hot into that corner. There was another car off to the left. There's Dean Canto having a spin. Maybe grabbing the front brakes there. A harmless spin. No one has actually hit him. But some damaged cars on the opening lap of this race.
Yeah, great to see young Dean back in the championship, but look at the damage to Thorne's XKR supercharged Jaguar, having his first drive this weekend. And a car with a lot of potential, because he's lost about 100 kilos out of the car since we last saw it, and they've picked up an extra 100 horsepower in it as well.
Yellow flags being waved to this part of the track, and Thorne goes running off.
Now I wonder if somebody's done something here.
Oh boy, problems there as well. This is Rusty French, so Rusty French has come off too.
And by the look of the steam and the smoke under the bonnet of Rusty's car,
he may be the cause of the problem, in fact.
So Rusty French, the veteran, trying to get out of the Sky Sands car now, and I think that tells the story. There's plenty of oil and coolant coming out from under the car, so I wonder if he's had an engine failure or something like that.
Something monumental has launched itself there.
And I'd say that Bob Thorne, being so far back there after his incident, was first on the scene and just slid straight off on the oil.
Got to say, I'm surprised that Bob didn't come into the pit lane as well. Let's now look at that.
Ooh. That's a big engine blow up there. That's as expensive and nasty as they get. Spun on his own oil. You could see big puffs of smoke. In fact, very surprised we didn't see bits of shrapnel flying out of those exhausts on the Viper as well.
That runoff area to the left of your screen is where Paul Morris went off in the V8 supercar races last year. They have extended that, so that probably would have helped Bob Thorne when he ran off in the oil.
So it's Porsche, Ferrari in Nations Cup. Jimmy Richards, who won the earlier race. Peter Fitzgerald won race 1. The oil flags are being shown. Richards backing right off, so too does Baird.
Interesting to see the way they're tackling that corner now, Cam.
They are. Well, you should be able to see it. As you come in around at that first GMC sign, the driver should pick up the oil trail and stay a little bit wider than the apex of the turn. But good to see the marshals actually telling possibly even helping by pointing to the oil patch on the road.
Interesting that Dominic Benica hasn't been as quick as the earlier Porsches of Fitzgerald and Richards, Cam, all weekend. I know he's running on Michelin tyres, but the car seems to be struggling for grip.
It is compared to the other Porsches, but the Michelin tyre should not really be the reason, so it's a bit of a strange one.
Sure is. Let's go to the pits and have a word with Rusty French.
Rusty French, plenty of smoke. Can you tell us what happened?
Well, I was coming up the main straight and I just changed from third into fourth and about 5,500 revs and something let go in the motor. I think I've dropped a rod or something, come straight outside the block.
It's a big one, wasn't it?
V10 8 litres all over the road, every single bit of it.
Dean Canto right in the middle of the pack here as we jump aboard with Mike Downer. Look at the way the young Dean Canto, reigning Konica Series champion, is bouncing that BMW across the curves.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoying his time in Nations Cup. Had a ball in the earlier races, and this is a car that's owned by Nicholas and Rebecca Peake. We've seen it a number of times in Nations Cup, but perhaps not quite this competitive.
Shouldn't forget also that Dean has had a bit of success in this category, Craig. Former winner at Sandown with Alfie Costanzo in the Maserati.
And I reckon the Maserati would be about as difficult to drive as this thing is. Very, very short in the wheelbase and quite easy to turn around, spin.
This part of the track is a little wider, Cam. You can see the way that Canto made a little bit of ground there. Downard's having to play defensive.
Yeah, both of them actually didn't use it, but it is good to use. You can get more exit speed out of that particular turn by using the concrete off to the left, and does make it better for visibility as well, going right down into that chicane.
Good run through from Stuart Gagg in the Versace Ferrari after being clouded by Sam Newman in the earlier race today. Likely repair the car in time, but he's just behind Canto on the road now, looking down the inside, thinks about it, falls back into line behind Canto.
It's been a busy weekend for Nigel Barclay, Paul Cruikshank and the boys from Prancing Horse Racing, hasn't it, having to fix that particular car, and of course the car of Noski's in GT Performance. Jim Richards leading the way from Craig Baird at the moment. Russell, his best ever performance in third, and Jeff Morgan rounds out your top four. Back in a moment. Last season, Porsche staked a claim on the streets of Canberra, and they're set to do that again today with Jim Richards leading the way. This is a battle going on further in the pack. Gagg really throwing out a challenge to Downard. Let's find out what happens to Canto here.
So Canto with the yellow BMW Z3. Now look at Gagg in the Ferrari down the outside. Great move. So Canto, it appears, just lost a little bit of momentum, and Gagg was able to certainly take advantage of that.
Seems as though the touch with Downard is what started that.
Yeah, I think he just went a little close to the back of Downard at the wrong part of the turn and got balked, lost a lot of revs coming onto the straight, and unfortunately the Ferrari, or fortunately for the Ferrari, it was up in the revs and was able to take one spot.
We've seen Gagg slowly moving forward in the championship this year. 31-year-old company director from Melbourne, running the Versace Classic Ferrari, 11th in last year's Commodore Cup Championship, and of course the car prepared by the Prancing Horse team.
Downard is doing a good job, Cam, to make this as tough as possible for him, isn't he?
Well, he doesn't do a lot of racing this year either, so it's really good to see that Mike's got some speed here this weekend. And Gagg really looking for a way through, but Mike's driving very, very defensively. You can see he's got the inside line pretty much everyone. He's holding them all up. But three different cars, you really couldn't get three totally different cars to drive.
Yeah, this is a fabulous race. The Megamanders.com Nations Cup Series, race 3 of the GMC 400. And again, Downard well and truly covering his eyes. Steve Webb having all sorts of problems this weekend. Glanced the wall in qualifying, then had to do a gearbox change or some modifications to the gearbox. After that crash, it looks like the troubles continue.
No troubles for Jim Richards, who's leading the way in this one. Craig Baird, a good performance though, the Kiwi, sitting there in second position. The Vipers are battling away in third and fourth. In fourth, it's the Monster.com entry in the hands of Jeff Morgan, third. His best effort so far in this series, that is Darcy Russell.
Look at the body language on Jimmy Richards' car too. He's not slowing down. In fact, Baird's closing on him. Jimmy's got the fastest lap, 151.15. Baird at 151.55. So he's within 4/10 of Jimmy's times.
He's going quick, Cam, but time's running out basically.
It is running out, and not only does he have to catch Jim, he then has to find a way past, and that's not easy to do. It's probably one of the hardest jobs in Australian motor racing, to pass Jim Richards, but I'm sure Craig Baird, with his experience here last year in the V8 Supercars, will give it everything he's got.
Downard continuing to lead Gagg. Then Canto with the BMW Z3 Roadster, the V8 engine Z3 Roadster. Gagg thinking about a run down the outside, slots in behind. And again, watch the body language between these, well, three very, very different sorts of motor cars.
Canto's not afraid to have a go here in the BMW either. He was really throwing it across the curbs there before. Downard again makes it tough for Gagg. Look at Canto trying to sneak up the inside in the BMW. Good performance by Gagg there. He saw him coming and shut the door.
Well, he's actually starting to flash the headlights too in that Ferrari, so he's getting very frustrated and probably rightly slow a little bit. Mike Downard's driving very defensively, and I'm just curious whether he might be shown a sportsmanship flag or a bad sportsmanship flag, because you can't continually block for a whole race like this, although the rule does say save for the end of the race, so maybe they're letting him defend his line as the race winds down.
Great job by Mike Downard in the Porsche GT3. He's raced Porsche Cup before, also driven Super Tourers as well.
Gag right in the middle of this pack, trying to find a way past. He's not having much luck at the moment. And Canto just monstering Gag. Look at the way that he's all over the back of him. Up the hill once again. Now Gag's got problems there. I don't know whether he's missed a gear or what's happened.
Certainly looked like it, Rusty, because the car slowed right down the middle of the straight, and that's allowed Dean Canto to just press on. Now he'll have to have a look at Downard. It's
an odd situation to happen when you consider that they're a sequential geared car.
Very easy to actually skip gears, though, if you hold your hand down on the actual lever for slightly too long. It could, say, go from second to fourth, and maybe that just cost him a little bit of momentum.
The run to home here, and look at the way that Craig Baird has caught Jimmy Richards. Incredible performance, but now only a handful of corners to go. Can he find some way past?
Magic. Did you just see the way Jimmy Richards just absolutely held the white line down the middle of the road, and that Craig Baird absolutely nowhere to go?
He looked left, he looked right, and he still is. He's got a lot of speed on Jim down the straight, but Jim's certainly got a little bit more under braking, blocks to the inside, which he can do on the last lap of a race like this.
Baird's a very accomplished driver. Raced last season for Stone Brothers, has been a former Ford Super Touring driver. Look at the run he's having on Jim Richards here. He's on the outside, though, as they come down to the roundabout. He'll get squeezed. Richards hangs on to that position, but excellent performance from Craig Baird when you consider he was given the call-up to sun for Mark Noske. Has had no real miles in this particular car. He has driven a Ferrari earlier this year, though, Craig,
yeah,
but a good performance.
Absolutely. Drove at Adelaide, shared one of the drives in the Prancing Horse cars over there, and has done a little bit of testing for the Prancing Horse team also.
The options are over for Craig Baird. Jim Richards will take this one out. His second race win from as many starts this weekend. Finished second in the opening encounter as well. So Jim Richards takes out the round on the streets of Canberra. Craig Baird an excellent second position in the last race.
Well, Germany back on top of the Nations Cup, and Jimmy Richards now on top in the Maguire's Drivers' Championship as well, on about 380 points from Peter Fitzgerald.
Strong effort from Darcy Russell. We mentioned it earlier in the commentary, his best result in this championship. A couple of lap competitors there, Bob Thorne and Palmer getting home in fourth position. A great effort from Jeff Morgan.
Yeah, good drive back to the field for Peter Fitzgerald as well. As we look at Stuart Gagg, stopped on the side of the road, and the battle still going right down to the wire between Mike Downard and Dean Canto.
It was a three-way battle, but Gagg is now out of this one. Downard will take the position, and a good performance from Dean Canto as well.
So we had Paul Stokell coming into this round of the championship pretty much in control for Italy in the Lamborghini, and of course how things can change.
Incredible, isn't it? A drive shaft problem and a crash, and no points at all on the board for Paul Stokell this weekend on the streets of Canberra. Third race going to Jim Richards from Craig Baird, Darcy Russell and Jeff Morgan third and fourth, and Mark Williamson getting the Lotus, the brand new Lotus Elise 200, into the top 8.
Yeah, good result too for Mahir Al Gadri into the top 10 from Mike Downard and Dean Canto.
This is Trackside. We'll take a break and come back and talk with our race winners. A great afternoon for the OAMPS Porsche team. They take victory on the streets of Canberra, and Jim Richards in the process moves to the top of the championship table. Excellent performance by Darcy Russell. He's trackside right now.
Well, Darcy Russell, surprise, surprise, a Dodge Viper on the podium. How's that?
Well, it's a big thrill, Craig, big thrill for me and certainly for the team. It's a massive thrill. It's been a long time coming, as you know, but the cars certainly have turned the corner this weekend, and I think we can really go on now and develop the package that we've got, and I think we'll see some better results as the year goes on.
Well, Craig Baird, you were flown in at the last minute for a replacement for Mark Noske due to his broken arm. You've done a tremendous job, brought the Budweiser Ferrari into second place. It's been a good weekend.
Yeah, it has been. I've enjoyed it immensely. Obviously, it's a shame for Mark to break his arm. He's been competitive in the car, but I tell you what, I wasn't mucking around to get on the plane. So, no, I was very happy, and it's just nice to get back out on a racetrack again with not having a full-time ride. So.
Yeah, harassed Jimmy all the way, particularly in race 3. Any chance we'll see you back in the Ferrari again for some subsequent rounds?
Well, obviously Mark's going to be out for a little while. He's got to have an operation on his arm, so, you know, fingers crossed. I haven't spoken to the team about it, but if they're going to run it, you know, I'd like to put my hand up for it, but we'll just see.
Congratulations to you and the Bud team. Well done.
Good on you. Thanks.
Well, congratulations, Jimmy Richards. Great performance here at the GMC 400, as was the case last year. A Lamborghini came into the championship leading the Maguire's Drivers' Championship, and a Porsche's coming out of this weekend leading the series. It's a bit of a turnaround.
Well, it is, but I mean, you know, we can't help it if they crash or break down. So I mean, if we finish every race, we keep out there, and the car keeps going around, you're going to pick up points, and that's what's happened this weekend.
How was race 3? Looks like Craig Baird pretty much hassled you all the way.
It's fantastic. I mean, Craig's a great driver, and the fact is that if he had got the jump at the start, I would have been behind him. So it's just a matter of who got the jump, which I happened to because I was on pole, and a good race. You know, it was great.
Well, congratulations to you and the OAMS team for a great weekend.
Thanks, Craig.
Our one round can change the championship. This is the Maguire's championship point score. Jim Richards 90 over Peter Fitzgerald. And our leader coming into this round, Paul Stokel, is now 5th.